Well, today's the day. It is the 5th and final quilting day of Quiltmas 2024, and we've got our super fun prairie flower quilt, and I already love how this turned out. I'm very excited to get it quilted and bound and on its way because we are in crunch time. This might not even get to them before Christmas, but at least it's winter themed. So when I was looking at this, I knew instantly which design I wanted to do for my edge to edge, and I believe it is called Becker's Snowflakes or something like that. I will figure that out once I get it loaded, but it's, instead of being the tossed snowflakes with like the swirlies, they kind of just go in a row. They kind of arc back and forth. I did it a couple years ago on my Grinch quilt, and I think this is going to be the perfect quilt for it as well. That said, I went back and forth on my thread color, and so at first I wasn't feeling all this white, and I just kept going, I don't know, maybe I should quilt it with like a light color, like a light blue. There's actually one called Brittany Blue from Glide. That's a really good match to some of the lighter tones in there. But the more I thought about it, the less I wanted the quilting to take over, and I still wanted these the sea prints to be the focal. So I'm going to do white thread. It's just going to sink into my backing. You're going to see it a little bit on my border with my silly skiers, but I think that's going to be the right choice, to do a white thread on there, and then it'll kind of fill in the gaps here but won't take too much away from the prints. At least that's what I'm thinking. And then as far as my minky backing, I am very excited about this one. So I found this one. It's called Poseidon Blue, and it's actually a really good match to some of these darker mid-tones in here. I know that's kind of contradictory, but this one, it was between this and Spruce, which was a little bit more of a teal bluey green, but I think this one's going to be really good. It looked really good next to the fabric that's going to be my binding, which is that like argyle stripe, this guy here. So I think that's going to be really fun. And so we're just gonna go ahead, we're gonna get down to business. We're gonna load this on the long arm. We're gonna quilt it, bind it, and knock it out of the park today. So I'll meet you over at my long arm. We are here, we are loaded in, we are basted in, our thread has been changed to white, and we are ready to go. And so with that, let me show you my pantograph design, which is called Deb's Snowflakes. So here's what we're going to be stitching out today. It is currently 10:50, and I'm hoping for the best because it's supposed to rain today, and I'm hoping that this will quilt out quicker than I think. I'll be able to bind it and get it done so we can get photos, so then our video is not delayed today. So fingers crossed. it looks amazing, but here we are about 5 hours later, and an hour or less until sunset. So I gotta bust this thing off, put some lighting on, and call it done. Well, we did it. I am glad I loaded my backing onto the long arm last night because I slept in a little extra this morning, but quilting started at 10:50 or so, and it was done. Binding was done by 10 after 4, and all I did was take a break to eat at one point, but the Prairie flower quilt is complete. We battled it. We made it through the rain. There was no rain. And looks so good. So I love how this turned out, from the color scheme and the stripy binding, and I think the backing is magical. It's just so good. I have to say this was a Quiltmas success. I am glad I saved this one for last, since we are now 2 days till Christmas and it's not in the mail yet. So that's one thing I'm gonna do after I wrap this up, is get this out in the mail. But this pantograph that took forever to do, like I think it took 15 minutes or so to go across, but that still meant that it took 12 or 13 or 14 zones to get through it. But it looks so good, and it just, the white thread was perfect. It blends in really well on the border as well, and the backing, like you saw, it just looks so good. I love it so much. I'm so excited for this to go to its new home and have them love it and squeeze it and call it their own. So Prairie Flower was a really good block. I lost a few points, and I feel like I've come to learn that that's what's gonna happen with pre-cuts with their pinked edge, but it was worth it. And plus, flowers have different kinds of petals, so maybe these flowers weren't meant to be pointy. So now, since I beat the rain, we did get photos, so let's take it outside, show you the finished quilt in its entirety, and then I'd say move on to the next one. But this was the last quilt of Quiltmas 2024, so we've got a few days. I'll either have a few more videos or I'll see you before the new year, I'm sure. So let's go take a look at some reveal photos and get you on your way.